Good evening, everybody. Welcome. This is the start of a debate, first debate for the presidency in 2024. I'm going to speak as they speak and criticize what they're saying and put in my input. I am running for president. I'm looking to go with the Republicans right now. I still haven't endorsed anybody. We have what I'd like to do, I'm going to say it here and now. Mr. Trump, President Biden, I want to work for both of you. I want to interact with both. Who your party's third party is who I wish to talk to. So I want to be associated with both the Republicans and the Democrats. I can help the Republicans so that I'm not being a traitor. Please don't make people think that I'm not. But maybe I could, down President Trump, maybe you can step aside and let me be the president of the Republican Party. Right now you're there because there's nobody else there that could work as a president. You know I could work as a president, and I will do what's right. I'll make my promises true. Right now, here's the Here is the.
We're live from Georgia, a key battleground
Here's
in the race
the
for the
one.
White House.
He's elderly, and so is President Trump. We're going to start the debate in a matter of a minute or two. Please watch its entire program. This show will be put on YouTube for all to review. Again, my name is Karen Krill Weinstein. I'm running for president, and I will be a person to take two parties and take them together, similar beliefs and faiths, and thus making America the greatest country ever. And individually, we will help you to create an excellent being, an excellent person. Right now, here's the laws of the debate, and let's watch the debate from at this time.
Between the two candidates tonight, before we introduce them, we want to share the rules of the debate with the audience at home. Former President Trump will be on the left side of the screen. President Biden will be appearing on the right. A coin toss determined their positions. Each candidate will have 2 minutes to answer a question and 1 minute each for responses and rebuttals. An additional minute for follow-up, clarification, or response is at the moderator's discretion.
When it's time for a candidate to speak, his microphone will be turned on and his opponent's microphone will be turned off. Should a candidate interrupt when his microphone is muted, he will be difficult to understand for viewers at home. At the end of the debate, each candidate will get 2 minutes for closing statements. There is no studio audience tonight. Pre-written notes, props, or contact with campaign staff are not permitted during the debate. By accepting our invitation to debate, both candidates and their campaigns agreed to accept these rules.
Now, please welcome the 46th President of the United States, Joe Biden. And please welcome the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being here. Let's begin the debate, and let's start with the issue that voters consistently say is their top concern, the economy. President Biden, inflation has slowed, but prices remain high. Since you took office, the price of essentials has increased. For example, a basket of groceries that cost $100 then now costs more than $120. And typical home prices have jumped more than 30%. What do you say to voters who feel they are worse off under your presidency than they were under President Trump?
We got to take a look at what I was left when I became president, what Mr. Trump left me. We had an economy that was in free fall. pandemic was so badly handled. Many people were dying. All he said was, it's not that serious. Just inject a little bleach in your arm. You'll be all right. The economy collapsed. There were no jobs. Unemployment rate rose to 15%. It was terrible. And so what we had to do was try to put things back together again. And that's exactly what we began to do. We created 15,000 new jobs. We brought out in a position where we have 800,000 new manufacturing jobs. But there's more to be done. There's more to be done. Working class people are still in trouble. I come from Scranton, Pennsylvania. I come from a household where the kitchen tables and things weren't able to be met during the month. It was a problem. The price of eggs, the price of gas, the price of housing, the price of a whole range of things. That's why I'm working so hard to make sure I deal with those problems. And we're going to make sure that we reduce the price of housing. We're going to make sure we build 2 million new units. We're going to make sure we cap rents so corporate greed can't take over. The combination of what was left of the corporate greed is the reason why we're in this problem right now. In addition to that, we're in a situation where if you take a look at all that was done in his administration, he didn't do much at all. By the time he left, things were in chaos, literally chaos. And so we put things back together. We created, I said, those jobs. We make sure we had a situation where we brought down the price of prescription drugs, which is a major issue for many people, to $15 for an insulin shot as opposed to $400. No senior has to pay more than $200 for any drug, all the drugs they can include beginning next year. And the situation is we're going to make that available to everybody, to all Americans. So we're working to bring down the price around the kitchen table, and that's what we're going to get done.
Thank you. President Trump?
We have the greatest economy in the history of our country. We have never done so well. Everybody was amazed by it. Other countries were copying us. We got hit with COVID, and when we did, we spent the money necessary so we wouldn't end up in a Great Depression, the likes of which we had in 1929. By the time we finished, so we did a great job. We got a lot of credit for the economy, a lot of credit for the military, and no wars, and so many other things. Everything was rocking good. But the thing we never got the credit for, and we should have, is getting us out of that COVID mess. He created mandates that was a disaster for our country, but other than that, we had given them back a country where the stock market actually was higher than pre-COVID, and nobody thought that was even possible. The only jobs he created were for illegal immigrants and bounce-back jobs, the bounce-back from the COVID. He has not done a good job. He's done a poor job, and inflation's killing our country. It is absolutely killing us.
Thank you. President Biden?
Well, look, the greatest economy in the world, he's the only one who thinks that, I think. I don't know anybody else who thinks we have the greatest economy in the world. And, you know...
Remember when President Biden came into the picture in 4 years ago?
His economy, he rewarded the wealthy. He had the largest tax cut in American history,
like
$2 trillion. He raised a deficit larger than any president had
about
in one term.
18,000.
He's the only
The Dow
president than Herbert Hoover who's had lost more
went
jobs
up
than
to
he
now
had when he began, since Herbert Hoover. The idea that he did something that was
38,000.
significant in the military. You know,
That's
when he was president, he was
great
still
number.
killing people in Afghanistan. He didn't
Raising
do anything
people
about that.
up,
When he was president, he was
receiving
still
more
putting
money,
himself in a position where
more
we had
opportunities
a notion that
to have
we were
more money,
this
such
safe
as buying
Truth
stocks.
is, I'm the only president this century that doesn't have any, this decade, that doesn't have any troops dying anywhere in the world like he did.
President Trump, I want to follow up if I can.
Am I allowed to respond to him?
Well, I'm going to ask you a follow-up. You can do whatever you want with the minute that we give you. I want to follow up. You want to impose a 10% tariff on all goods coming into the U.S. How will you ensure that that doesn't drive prices even higher?
Not going to drive them higher. It's just going to cause countries that have been ripping us off for years, like China and many others, in all fairness to China. It's going to just force them to pay us a lot of money, reduce our deficit tremendously, and give us a lot of power for other things. But he made a statement. The only thing he was right about is I gave you the largest tax cut in history. I also gave you the largest regulation cut in history. That's why we had all the jobs. And the jobs went down and then they bounced back, and he's taking credit for bounce back jobs. You can't do that. He also said he inherited 9% inflation. No, he inherited almost no inflation, and it stayed that way for 14 months, and then it blew up under his leadership because they spent money like a bunch of people that didn't know what they were doing, and they don't know what they were doing. It was the worst, probably the worst administration in history. There's never been. And as far as Afghanistan is concerned, I was getting out of Afghanistan, but we were getting out with dignity, with strength, with power. he got out. It was the most embarrassing day in the history of our country's life.
President Trump, over the last 8 years,
with Afghanistan, I'm the one who got us out of Afghanistan. I made a request to Joe Biden to take the people out of Afghanistan. They were fighting for thousands of years. I don't want any of our servicemen to die anymore at that location. They have to make changes in their own country.
You want to extend them and go even further, you say. With the U.S. facing trillion-dollar deficits and record debt, why should top earners and corporations pay even less in taxes than they do now?
Because the tax cuts spurred the greatest economy that we've ever seen just prior to COVID. And even after COVID, it was so strong that we were able to get through COVID much better than just about any other country. But we spurred, that tax spurred. Now, when we cut the taxes, as an example, the corporate tax was cut down to 21% from 39%, plus beyond that. We took in more revenue with much less tax, and companies were bringing back trillions of dollars back into our country. The country was going like never before, and we were ready to start paying down debt. We were ready to start using the liquid gold right under our feet, the oil and gas right under our feet. We were going to have something that nobody else has had. We got hit with COVID. We did a lot to fix it. I gave him an unbelievable situation.
It's difficult for me to say.
All of the therapies,
We had,
all of the things that we came up with.
when the stocks went up to 38,000, look how many jobs they created, and the people have. And we have people who don't want to work. Now they can work. Less hours, more time for fun. With the money we saved from Afghanistan, ask them, did they, what did they do with that money? The way I see it, President Biden put it back into the system, and now everybody has health care.
They don't respect our leadership. They don't respect the United States.
They have.
We're like a third world nation between weaponization of
better
his
health care
election,
today.
trying to go after his political opponent. All of the things he's done, we've become like a third world nation, and it's a shame. The damage he's done to our country, and I'd love to ask him, and will,
saddened and hurt that he's saying bad things about our country, how bad things were. And I'm a living poor person, and I know he had helped me, and I know he helped many other poor people. That is President Biden. He helped the poor and the middle class. How many cars were sold since President Biden's been in office? That shows what kind of economy we now have.
We're in a situation where they in fact pay 8.2% in taxes. If they just paid 24%, 25%, either one of those numbers, they've raised $500 billion, I should say, in a 10-year period. We'd be able to wipe out his debt. We'd be able to help make sure that all those things we need to do, child care, elder care, making sure that we continue to strengthen our health care system, making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID, excuse me, with dealing with everything we had to do with, look.
Start it, Donald.
If we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
Well, he's right. He did beat Medicare. He beat it to death, and he's destroying Medicare. Because
on the contrary, Medicare has reached out to more people. They get more quality. They get more quality medicine, much better than when Donald Trump was in office. We're getting good health insurance. People are getting treated with conditions. We're helping each other to get better and live a healthy life. That's what President Biden does, and that's what I would do too.
Foreign countries, I'm friends with a lot of people. They cannot believe what happened to the United States of America.
It's not a matter of how many people are friendly to him. It's about the people, not his friends. He's saying negative words, people, about our country, and it goes out to all the people in the world. Do you really want your president to say what he's saying? He's making our country less than all others by the way he speaks about our country. And I don't think that's not the way to make this country the greatest country in the world. That's not how you do it.
Former President Trump, you take credit for the decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, which returned the issue of abortion to the states.
Correct.
However, the federal government still plays a role in whether or not women have access to abortion pills. They're used in about 2/3 of all abortions. As president, would you block abortion medication?
First of all, the Supreme Court just approved the abortion bill, and I agree with their decision to have done that, and I will not block it. And if you look at this whole question that you're asking, complex but not really complex. 51 years ago, you had Roe v. Wade, and everybody wanted to get it back to the states. Everybody, without exception.
Not
Democrats,
everybody
Republicans,
wants that.
liberals,
Now you see all the
everybody wanted to
bad
get
things happening about abortion and all, and not helping a mother who's delivering a baby, who needs medical care that'll save her life, maybe save the baby's life, and you can't expect people to die for having pregnancy. Unacceptable. The doctor's there to treat that poor woman with her condition, and he can't. It reminds me of Alan Elder was on a canoe with Mash. He was on a canoe. He had no arms, and there were people missing appendages, body parts, and he had to sit there and not help them. Imagine what that doctor feels like when he knows and he has the best ability to help the patient, but because of the law, he can't. That is wrong, unacceptable, and that is not the American way.
Rape, incest, and the life of the mother. I think it's very important. Some people don't. Follow your heart, but you have to get elected also, and because that has to do with other things. You got to get elected. The problem they have is they're radical because they will take the life of a child in the 8th month, the 9th month, and even after birth.
That is not true.
If you look
People,
at the former
true.
governor of Virginia, he was willing to do this.
I'm going to say something right here
we'll
now.
put the baby aside, and we'll
I'm going to tell you right now, as I said to another general about abortion and women not getting the care, you know what that's going to lead to? Women are not going to get pregnant at all. They're not going to have children. They don't want to suffer a bad pregnancy and not get the help, and even have to die. Because the politics and the government only cares about what they want done. What about the woman? We're not going to have pregnancies. They're not going to be willing to say, I'll have a baby, and then you end up with multiple problems. Please, take away abortion. I understand and I know why you did that, but it's not necessary. You'll have more people, more women have children if you give them prenatal care and all medical care for that woman. Because they say, I don't want to suffer, I don't want to die. Think about that, people.
It's just ridiculous, and they can do nothing about it. And they try to arrest them when they cross state lines.
Thank you.
There have been many young women murdered by the same people he allows to come across our border. We have a border that's the most dangerous place anywhere in the world, considered the most dangerous place anywhere in the world. And he opened it up, and these killers are coming into our country, and they are raping and killing women. And it's a terrible thing. As far as the abortion is concerned, it is now
That's
back
an
with the states. The states
assumption.
are voting.
I saw on the news a man, he was from the southern border, Mexico, one of the countries, and what he did was he got into the country, an immigrant, they sent him back. He then again came back into the United States, went to medical college, and now he's a brain surgeon. They're not all bad people that he says they are. This man was a surgeon for the brain, a neurologist.
I'll let you do that. This is the same topic. 7 states have no legal restrictions on how far into a pregnancy a woman can obtain an abortion. Do you support any legal limits on how late a woman should be able to terminate a pregnancy?
I supported Roe v. Wade, which had 3 trimesters. First time is between the woman and the doctor. Second time is between the doctor and an extreme situation. The third time is between the doctor, between the woman and the state. The idea that the politicians, that the founders wanted the politicians to be the ones making decisions about a woman's health is ridiculous. That's the last. No politician should be making that decision. A doctor should be making those decisions. That's how it should be run. That's what you're going to do. And if I'm elected, I'm going to restore Roe v. Wade.
So that means he can take the life of the baby in the 9th month and even after birth, because some states, Democrat run, take it after birth. Again, the former governor of Virginia, put the baby down, then we decide what to do with it. So he's willing to...
He is not speaking correctly. Listen carefully to what this man is saying. He is talking nonsense. For example, the way they come into this country and they do bad things and all. I think Roe versus Wade, we all come together with medical doctors and decide what is legal, what is not, when to have a trespass. It's not the politicians to make that decision. They are not doctors. They're not doctors. A politician does not have the authority equal to a doctor's and a doctor's care. Be very careful with what former President Donald Trump is saying. Pay attention.
What's he going to do with the fact that if the MAGA Republicans, he gets elected, and the MAGA Republicans control the Congress, and they pass a universal ban on abortion, period, across the board, at 6 weeks or 7 or 8 or 10 weeks, something very, very conservative. Is he going to sign that bill? I'll veto it. He'll sign it.
Thank you.
Let's turn now to the issue of immigration and border security. President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, but made sure that we are in a situation where you had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. Significantly, by the way, the Border Patrol endorsed me, endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. That's not the right way to go.
The other thing, he separated families and people together. Do you know what happened? How is the mother going to find her child when they're separated? They have no connection information. Mother could go one way, your child could go another direction, and they never find each other ever again because they have no way to contact each other. That is a problem, and that troubles me very much. Keep the families together and united. I have no problem putting people through the entering, but they have to do it the right way and go and get papers. It's going to take time. Now, my solution to this is,
people that are from mental institutions.
That's not true. Mental institutions, mental people are beautiful, loving, caring people.
All over the world, not just in South America.
All he can see is less than. Why can't he say, well, this, you can't say that person is mentally ill and can't come into this border and receive good health care.
In that final couple of months of my presidency, we had, according to Border Patrol, who is great, and by the way, who endorsed me for president, but I won't say that, but they endorsed me for president. Brandon, just speak to him. But look, we had the safest border in history. Now we have the worst border in history. There's never been anything like it.
No, we don't put people in cages. What I would do is put an area for them, a holding area. Big farms, they'll be farming in the area, and we will help them teach them how to, good food, nutrition, to learn how to drive a car. We all go into that, and when your papers are ready, then we will continue to help. We can't allow the migrants to die on their travels to come to the U.S. And I'm going to say is that our country lives upon over borders. Now we cut them back, slow it down, deportation, they have them down there walking up a ramp, coming around, and then there's a bus for them to go back to the country. We can send people in and help them regain control of the country and take away all the bad things that are happening to them. Just think about what they're leaving to walk 1,000 miles to come to the United States. We're a very good country. With me in charge, we're going to be even better. These people will be treated as humans. No child should be separated from the mother and father. And when ICE came in, I think it was with Donald Trump, when the ICE came in, they took children away from the parents. The children would come home from school and the parents are gone, never to be seen again. How does that child think? Maybe we should stop having children altogether because of these things, the behaviors and what they're doing. But we don't want that to happen. Just like with abortion, they may not have abortion at all, or have any children, because of the consequences that can happen. And that's wrong. Our government should stand up for the people, for the needs and care that we need to bring up all of us up to a higher level.
He opened the borders. Nobody's ever seen anything like
He did not open the borders.
We have to get a lot of these people out, and we have to get them out fast.
We
because
don't
they're going to destroy
only
our
the
country.
ones that
Just take a look
cause
at where
problems.
They're living in luxury hotels.
They are not living in
New York City
luxury
and other places.
hotels.
Our veterans are on the
Our
street.
people, these Mexicans that come in there, they do all the physical work.
And he doesn't care about our veterans.
There were 6 migrants who died at that bridge, and it was hit by a big ship of materials, big ship, and collapsed the bridge. That was migrants doing the job, and then they died. What are they? We let them come in and have jobs. They're not taking their jobs away from us. They're helping us. They don't think they're better than us. They're happy to be here, and they're willing to do hard jobs and be good workers, because American white people can no longer do that type of work. We're tired, old, and we need help with physical work, challenging work. We will do the American white ones will be dealing with office type work, and then the Mexicans who come into our country will do the work such as putting new roofs on buildings. So just think, they are an advocate. There is a group that will not be there. They're trying to take over our country, and they have their foot in our country very deeply. So we must come to realization. We should be selective on who we want and who we don't want.
He made that up. He put it in commercials. We've notified him. We had 19 people that said I didn't say it. And think of this. Who would say I'm at a cemetery or I'm talking about our veterans? Because nobody's taking better care. I'm so glad this came up. And he brought it up. There's nobody that's taken better care of our soldiers than I had. To think that I would, in front of generals and others, say suckers and losers. We have 19 people that said it was never said by me. It was made up by him.
He just said
like
it now.
Russia was
He
made up.
just said it
Just like
now.
the 51 intelligence agents are made up.
He's
Just
just
like the
giving
new
you
thing that
lies,
16
people.
economists are talking. It's the same thing. 51 intelligence agents said that the laptop was Russia disinformation. It wasn't. That came from his son.
He
Hunter.
friend
It wasn't
leaders
Russia disinformation.
that were our enemies.
So he should apologize to me right now.
4-star general standing aside who was on your staff said you said it. Period. That's number one. And number two, the idea that I have to apologize to you for anything along the line. We've done more for veterans than any president has in American history. And they now are in their family. The only sacred obligation we have as a country is to care for our veterans when they come home and their families and equip them when they go to war. That's what we're doing.